5 seconds. Start. Sir, I would like to make a few observations so that the Honorable Minister will make a note about the way in which these institutions are being run. It is a good thing that these institutions have been started, but at the same time, we are suffering from lack of coordination in regard to our technical education. We have certain institutes like the Polytechnic, etc., under the Scientific Research and Cultural Affairs Ministry, and they are run through the state governments. Then there are the engineering colleges under the universities, and thirdly, sir, trade technical education is imparted by the central labor ministry at the state level. In addition to that, the states have certain arrangements of their own for technical education. I feel that there is no effort at coordination, and that leads to a good deal of confusion. Perhaps if there is effort, there are certain difficulties. I hope the Honorable Minister will tell us about that. I would also like to suggest that even in these four institutions, as for some time the medium of instruction would be English, for emotional integration, an attempt should be made to take a few students from the neighboring region or other region on a reciprocal basis. Otherwise, these institutes will themselves be developing, as was hinted by the previous speaker, some regional consciousness. There is great difficulty, sir, with regard to technical personnel for teaching, and I am not aware in what way these institutes will be staffed. Perhaps some foreigners will be brought in, but at the same time, with the arrangements existing at present for taking technical help from different countries, Russia, UK, USA, and Germany, I do not know whether there will be special courses provided in these institutes for the teaching staff from those different countries. What arrangements there are, one does not know. In the present arrangement for teaching, I should have liked to mention the fifth arrangement for teaching at present provided through the various industrial concerns like Bhilai, Rourkela, etc. All these big concerns have their big technical schools, and they take their students for postgraduate work as also for research work. What will therefore happen with regard to the standard is a question. Sir, we are not at all sure in our country about the correct use of terms. I would, for instance, mention here the word polytechnic. They have one school, and even if there is arrangement for starting another subject, no effort is made, and no sooner they feel they should give guarantee of some sort of technical education without proper inquiries with regard to the possibilities for employment and the various mineral resources, etc., and the basic education that should enable the students to enter the polytechnics to have the training where it is available. These polytechnics are started. Similarly, There is some confusion about the use of the word university. We have the Roorkee University for one subject, that is engineering. So it seems there is going to be one university for one faculty. We have one music university also in Madhya Pradesh. We are going to start, I am told, perhaps a university only for agriculture. So, if these institutes are there, which term seems to be really the appropriate word in place of these one faculty universities? I think the Honorable Minister should take the initiative in determining what should be the exact connotation of these terms. Otherwise, one day, as was pointed out, there will be perfect confusion. There comes also the question of the recognition of the degree given by these institutes. Of course, if the training with the special facilities available and the specially recruited staff available is of a high standard, naturally people would be very anxious to recruit the people who have passed out from there. In the beginning, there will not be any trouble with regard to making use of the graduates turned out from there, but the question of recognition has to be decided on certain principles, and those principles should be laid down and followed from the beginning. Now, I would like also to mention the question about scholarships. It was pointed out that certain scholarships, especially to the children of the working class, should be given. I would like to point out here that there is already provision for that and it is not something new. What I would like to stress is that scholarships should be in larger numbers. The scholarships do not seem to be adequate for the rising standard of living and the cost of living. The scholarships that are given do not meet half the need. There is yet another matter which the Honorable Minister is the proper person to inquire about, and that is the merit scholarships that are available in different states to students for technical subjects or to other students who pass with very high marks are not given by the states if they read out the state. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, I extend to this resolution my wholehearted support, though I wish he had extended its scope by incorporating within it two more services, but then I cannot deal with that subject now. You have assured me that the matter will be taken up on a subsequent occasion. I do not know when that subsequent occasion is likely to occur. Sir, I am grateful to the Honorable Minister for some kind words he has said about me in regard to my interest in this subject. No doubt, for long I have been urging the necessity of creating more All India services during the last 5 years or so, ever since that recommendation on the subject was made by the State Reorganization Commission, and during the last 1 year and a half, near about that time, I have been tabling resolutions on the subject twice or thrice, but they could not come up. Of course, as they say, there are higher forces that govern the destiny. of things, and so far as Parliament is concerned, it is the government and the undisputed sway of the chair that govern the destiny of resolutions. Obviously, it was so ordained that this resolution should come up only now, and that too as a government sponsored resolution. Even as it is, I welcome it most heartily and feel enthusiastic and even jubilant about it. Sir, I sincerely congratulate the Honorable the Home Minister for the tact, the firmness, the strength, and the determination which he has shown in overcoming all the obstacles and difficulties which I am sure were there in his way. The opposition and unwillingness of the states were there initially, I know, and I also know, sir, that about a year ago, when I tabled a question on this subject, the then Home Minister told us that the government would be only too glad to have more All India services, but then the handicap in their way was that the states were not agreeable to it. Subsequent to that, sir, about the middle of this year, I wrote to all the chief ministers requesting them to let me know their views on this subject, and I was a little unhappy to find that no chief minister replied to me saying that he was agreeable to it. One or two of them especially said that they were against it. So, all these difficulties were there in the way of the Home Minister, but I find that by his sweet persuasion he has been able to win over all the chief ministers who in the conference immediately preceding the last one agreed to it in principle, and in the subsequent conference they agreed to it. It appears obviously in toto, and hence we have before us this resolution supported by the chief ministers of all the states. Sir, for that I want to congratulate most sincerely and heartily the Honorable the Home Minister. Now, sir, so far as the merits of this resolution are concerned, I do not think it is necessary for me to elaborate on them, because during the last 4 years or so, ever since the publication of the report of the States Reorganization Commission, many eminent men all over the country, eminent administrators and persons who had experience of administration, including the retired Comptroller and Auditor General, were of the opinion that more All India services should be created. Our Honorable the Prime Minister, as also our Vice President, have on more than one occasion expressed themselves definitely in favor of having more All India services. Last year, sir, about the month of October, when addressing the Indian Police Service officers when they were going out after having had their training for a year, he expressly said that if national integration was to be maintained, it was necessary to have more All India services. That being so, I think there is not much need for us to emphasize the necessity and the utility for having more All India services. Sir, in the interest of efficiency and also in the interest of integrity, it is absolutely necessary that we should have these three All India services as also some others. The major problem these days before us is that successful implementation of the development program has to be carried through. It is not enough that we should have big schemes. It is not enough that we should allocate large sums for the implementation of those schemes, but it is necessary that we should have competent personnel to effectively implement our schemes so that in a short time we may be able to carry forward our country to economic prosperity all around. In the past, during the pre independence period, we had quite a number of All India services, but then, when we framed our constitution, we dispensed with the others, retaining only two. It appears to me that necessity has now arisen for reorganization of the All India services and to have more All India services. Stop.